Is astrology a guide to aid us in mastering the universe? This is the Cosmic Community Podcast with Galactic Ambassador Stacey Dredd. Thank you so much for making time and space in your day today to receive these messages here in the Cosmic Community. It is an eclipse week. We are in the eclipse portal. And so this Saturday, October 14th, is the big day of the week. We definitely have some pretty significant planetary shifts taking place early on in the week, and then the energy starting to build into that new moon in Libra, annular solar eclipse on October 14th in the morning, just before 11 a.m. So we start off, I'm bringing you this message today, October 10th, and all the times I use are going to be Pacific West Coast times. And we start off the day today with a pretty big event that signifies the end of all the outer planets in their retrograde, and that's Pluto, stationing direct. Pluto is the planet of transformation, deep-rooted transformation and permanent shifts and changes. This is an energy that is finishing up in Capricorn. Pluto is at 28 degrees of Capricorn and is just grinding his way through those last final degrees of Capricorn, in which he will not return until 248 years from now. So this is truly, Pluto energy is truly a once in a lifetime energy. We don't get to see Pluto go around the whole chart in our lifetime. We just get to see it in little small sections of the long course of its life. So these lessons that we learn from Pluto are these deep-rooted, wise lessons, and we spend our life and multiple lifetimes learning these lessons. And wherever Pluto is in your birth chart can show where you are going to be undergoing a deep transformation in your life, and you're going to be constantly transforming in this area. Well, this Pluto energy is located in the last sections of Capricorn right now, which is all about creating structure and is all about the skeleton, the skeletal structure. This is very much like our career and our ambition to give to the world and to leave a legacy also. So when planets station retrograde or direct, their energy is felt most strongly. And so today we have Pluto sitting extremely still and is going to be sitting extremely still for the whole month of October. And it just takes a while for this energy to start building up and start moving forward again. And then Pluto will leave Capricorn, and we will leave behind all of the last, it's been like 15, 16 years with Pluto and Capricorn. We will leave behind these lessons. We will graduate from this space, and Pluto will move into Aquarius and start making huge transformations in the Aquarius area of our life. So again, final endings taking place this week as Pluto energy is felt really strong, moving direct on October 10th at 6:10 p.m. And then on the following day, October 11th, we have Mars, our warrior planet. This is our physical body. Mars represents our physical body and where we choose to make war. This is our warrior spirit. This is where we choose to fight for the things that mean so much to us. And Mars is moving into the sign of Scorpio, and is actually really super strong here. Mars has been in the sign of Libra and is like really pretty well behaved in Libra also. Mars just wants things to be done now. It's very much a shoot first, ask questions later type of energy when you're dealing with Mars. And in Libra, Libra is very diplomatic. Libra is all about weighing things out and, making sure things are fair and that, everything's equally balanced. And Mars is not really super into that and does okay there. He behaves under that energy. But when Mars moves into Scorpio, Mars is the traditional planetary ruler of Scorpio and is very strong there. Becomes basically very deeply enthralled into what we are fighting for. We get deeply enthralled in that. Scorpio is a deep energy. It's like taking things and it's like beating a dead horse. It's very similar to that Scorpio energy. And that's really good when we need to harness a bunch of energy in one area and, really be into that with all of that energy at that time. But there are times to step away from that too. So Mars and Scorpio, we will be using and utilizing and working with this energy over the next 2 months. That's about what Mars takes to make it through a sign. So people with Scorpio energy, looking at the Scorpio area of your birth chart and seeing where Mars is going to bring some physical action into your life and is going to step up and take on a warrior spirit around that and start fighting and creating battles in these areas regarding our deep-rooted passions. So again, that's really amazing energy that we can use. And when we know that this type of astrology, this type of energy is available, that's when we can use this energy to manifest in certain areas, goals that we have, things we have going on in our lives. We can take that and move forward with it in a benevolent and a useful way. So, interesting shifts, really interesting ways of starting this week, this second week of October, and also the entrance into the new moon in Libra solar eclipse, which is on October 14th. And really, truly, from the planetary shifts on Tuesday, Wednesday, there's a little touch on Friday of a Mars trine with Saturn, which will stimulate a little bit more of that more kind of like attack energy. There could definitely be some type of, really ambitious energy with Mars in a trine with Saturn, Saturn being what we would like to take responsibility for. And so Mars entering a new sign, taking on some new focuses, and then also making interactions with planets that are making us question our responsibilities and sort of, what we are responsible for in terms of fighting these battles. So very interesting way of moving into the solar eclipse. This is Stacey Dredd, Galactic Ambassador in the Cosmic Community, but I do have a guest in the studio with me today, and that's Dawn Newton. Dawn Newton from Open Air with Dawn Newton, Wednesdays from 5 to 6.
Hey, Stace.
Hey, you're in the Cosmic Community today, though.
I know. I'm excited to be here.
Yay.
I love your show. We don't get enough of this. You don't?
It's a totally different way of viewing things.
Well, it makes so much sense. I love astrology. I love numerology. I love oracle cards, tarot cards, crystals, all the things. And you are all about that. So I feel very privileged to be sitting across from you today.
Oh, man. And such a powerful week to be doing it, too. The eclipse time can be known as a portal So it's like we are entering this wormhole right now. And it's, of course, an energetic wormhole. And we can choose to work with this energy. And it's a really good time to just be focused in on how are you feeling? How are you doing right now? And you're going to learn a little bit about your birth chart here today in the second half of the show. We're going to dive into that. And so you're going to see where these certain points of these eclipses are kind of going to be playing out for you on a personal level. And then we get to do with that information what we do with that information.
I'm excited.
Thank you for coming and being my co-host today.
Oh, absolutely.
I really appreciate it. And we're going to dive into Dawn's birth chart here in the second half of the show. I just want to get back to this new moon in Libra annular solar eclipse that's happening on October 14th. I mean, you've heard about it. Everyone's heard about it because it's going to be visible from Oregon, Southern Oregon, like from the Southern Oregon coast, like down southeast and like a strip through the southern part of Oregon. So I'm planning on going to Summer Lake Hot Springs to view this
cool.
solar eclipse. But if you remember the one back in 2017 that was in Madras, that was a total solar eclipse. This one is called an annular solar eclipse, and it's where the moon is a little further away from the Earth. So, the super moons that you hear about, those are the ones that are really close to the Earth, and then you've got the opposite point of that, which is where the moon is furthest away from the Earth, and that's where this eclipse is happening. So the moon isn't going to quite cover the entire sun, so there's going to be a ring of fire.
That's going to look amazing.
Yes, you still need your protective eyewear, I'm pretty sure.
What time should we expect it?
This happens in the morning time
at
10:59 a.m. Yeah, so that's going to be cool. If you can get down a little further south, you should be able to see some of it from Bend too. So, and surrounding areas, Central Oregon. So, anyways, this one though is a new moon. So new moons are all about places that we start fresh. We are starting fresh. We have an opportunity to create a new intention and start a fresh cycle regarding Libra themes. I mentioned Libra being the sign of basically diplomacy is a good word for Libra. Balancing the scales. The scales of justice are the really exciting symbol for people get like Leo has like a lion and Taurus has like a bull and Libra has the scales of justice as their symbol. So, I mean, they take it seriously, making sure that things are equitable. This is where you see a lot of like judges and lawyers and people like with a lot of Libra energy. They're going to be focusing on like that area for kind of like their life and what they do, but Libra is a Venus ruled sign and is about relationships foremost and primarily. So relationships are going to be the key theme that we are transmuting, that we are transforming, that we are moving in and through this portal. And we can see if we do make intentions at these new moons with these eclipse points, we can make things happen like bam, like that in our life. It's just a quick moving energy. Eclipses are accelerators. And so what we are focusing on right now and what our intentions are around, our motivations right now, we want to make sure that we're keeping those things really pure and really staying tuned in with what we're putting out there right now, because the universe is going to grab a hold of what we're putting out there and it's just going to return it right back to us. So you want to make sure that that is indeed what you would like to see returned to you. Libra, again, all about relationships. So this is not just like romantic relationships, although it is romantic relationships, but it's more than just that. It's relationships within businesses. Business relationships are actually a big ticket here because business contracts and contracts in general, that being a very kind of like diplomatic thing, it's ruled by the sign of Libra. So contracts of any kind, they are up for review right now. If you have a contract that has ran its course and you are needing to create something new around that, this time is a really good time to do that. It's a powerful point to use these themes because anything that you create within these themes of Libra right now, they're going to be accelerated. They're going to happen really fast. They're going to have a lot of energy behind them. And so this is a really, really good time to review contracts if they're involved in business relationships. There are contracts within marriages too. But also we have relationships with ourselves. We don't just have relationships with other people. We have relationships with our spiritual body. We have relationships with our physical body and our emotional body, and all these things need our attention, and they need equal amounts of attention. Another Libra theme, keeping things equal. And so I always see these hot Libra moments as a good time to also be in tune with the relationships that we have with ourselves, with our mind. What kind of relationship do we have with the things that are going through our mind? Are we tough on ourselves all the time? Do we give ourselves a little bit of diplomatic leeway at times to explain ourselves, or to have a little space, or to take a little recess for a second and think things through, reset, and then go back into things having like a little more of a settled mindset? So those are just all the things that are kind of instantly coming up to me as, big Libra themes. And this is happening at 21 degrees of Libra. So first things first here, Dawn, we'll just take a look at where 21 degrees of Libra lies in your birth chart. And Libra is the glyph with the line underneath it and then the little squiggly one on top. So right here.
Got it.
And if you see, you actually have a pretty big thick line right there. And that one says ascendant, ASC. And your ascendant's at 15 degrees. The eclipse is at 21 degrees, and that's still pretty close. I think 5 degrees is usually where people keep it. But when you're dealing with your sun or your ascendant or your moon, it's actually a wider orb, and you can go out to 10 degrees with that. So this solar eclipse is actually on a pretty important part of your birth chart. The ascendant is where what part of the sky was on the eastern horizon at the moment of your birth. And so that is what the ascendant represents in terms of the sky and the, way that we view that. Of course, all these 12 constellations that go all the way around, and that's how we keep track of where we are in the sky. And your ascendant represents how people see you in the world. This is all tied up into social energy and social masks that we wear and the way that other people see us. And so knowing that you indeed have this ascendant point right at the point of this eclipse near it enough to say it's right on the point, you're going to have some interaction here. You're going to have some interplay. You're going to be feeling this eclipse even a little bit more. And I didn't plan this. Okay. This just happened this way. And the way that this all happens is that Dawn intuitively knew that she wanted to be coming on my show because she knew that something big was coming up for her and that there was giving messages for her today. Well, she didn't really know that, but the universe knew that and made this all happen. So, I love it when astrology and astronomy are two different things, right? Astronomy is the study of the planets and the movement of the planets. And then astrology is the study of the movement of the planets, but also like the energy off of that and what that means for us on an energetic level. And so astrology has really dropped out of mainstream culture, but astronomy is still very much out there. So I love it when these eclipses come into the public eye and everyone gets interested and turns their eyes to the skies to see what the heck's going on up there. I mean, this is our connection to our ancestors and our ancient people. The stars, the sky, the Milky Way, everything that we just look up and wonder about. We have been wondering about for so long. So for me, astrology and astronomy and the study of the skies in any way connects me on a deeper level to being human.
Well, it's amazing how, if you say forever in history, like sailors, people, everybody navigated by the stars, by the sun, by the moon. They didn't have GPS. They didn't have any type of map or app to go on. So when you think about it, that's been around forever. And then just reading that and understanding it, and just how our moods are affected by those ebbs and flows.
I think that there too, like in the mythology is where you get a lot of like the sort of the archetypal energy that's associated with each of these planets. So like if you are an ancient Greek, you know, you would definitely know all of the energies of all of those gods and goddesses. And then when they applied them to the planets in that way, it would make perfect sense, right? Because you knew the archetypal energy of, you know, Aphrodite and Hermes, who's Mercury, you know, Aphrodite is Venus. And so, yeah, that, you know, you can start to see, and then in every culture, they're associated with these archetypal energies. So I for whatever reason, it's fallen out, but I say Venus and Mars are definitely the two who stay in our view, and Mercury, because everyone knows when Mercury's retrograde.
Yes, we do.
It's like a big deal, you know, and everyone like freaks out and just tell me about Mercury retrograde already, you know. And the reason that we are so tied into the sun, Mercury, Venus, Mars, of course, they're the close planets in, and they are so bright. These are known in astrology as the personal planets. And the personal planets are Mercury, our mind, Mars, our physical body, Venus, our feminine energy, our love, our money. And these are energies that, yeah, like we can all relate to those things. The outer planets, Pluto, Neptune, Uranus, these deal in more of these bigger themes. These are like the life themes, you know, and yeah, we connect with those things on a slower sort of pace as we go through our lives. But the personal planets, they're always moving. We are just so in tune with them. And your birth chart here, of course, you know, when we look at our horoscope, we all look at where, or the majority of us, were trained to look at where our sun is located. So the sun is like when you look at your horoscope, that's your sign. So you are a Pisces. You already knew that. Yes. And you have your sun at the very last degrees of Pisces. The sun is the circle with the dot inside of it. And so at the very last degrees of Pisces, you've also got a couple of personal planets close by per usual. Mercury doesn't ever get too far from the sun, and your Mercury is right there, just a few degrees away in Aries, and Mars is close behind. So you have these personal planets really close to your sun, meaning that just you might be feeling these things just a little more, like when Mars is making aspects, like I just, talked about the week that we're going to go through and the fact that Mars is moving into Scorpio. Well, your Mars is pretty significant because it's right there near your sun and going to be really affecting being the way your main filter, your main experience of the world. So these planets that are close to our sun, when things happen, same with the Mercury, when Mercury goes retrograde, you might feel it just a little more than the average person just because it's close in, tied into that self-identity, the sun, that main filter in which we see the world. And I looked at your moon. Also, your moon is in Gemini, and you are not the only Gemini strong energy person here, DJs at KPOV, and that does not surprise me because Geminis are known to be curious. They are the interviewers.
Okay. Well, that explains that.
They are like curious, asking questions, and very, very good in conversation one-on-one.
Okay. Well, that's what my show's all about. That's what, yes, in other aspects of my life, I do a lot as a realtor as well. My side hustle, asking a lot of questions, getting people to talk. Tell me what you want. Tell me what we need to know. Tell me, and why do you do that? What makes you do? I mean, the first thing I asked you, Stacey, how did you get started in this? This is fascinating, and the questions just keep coming.
That was a great question. I automatically just thought you were asking me, and I needed to start answering. Like you are so good at asking questions and keeping people feeling. I mean. Okay, you can get interviewed by certain people and not feel too important, but you make people feel so special when they're being interviewed. And I think that is a skill that comes into play here. I mean, obviously your chart supporting that and you've practiced it a lot. So we're not just going to say that it's because of your birth chart that you're obviously good at that. You've been working on it for a long time, but the planets, the moon basically represents kind of our daily mood. And kind of our feelings on a daily basis. Also, this is a more intimate energy. And so the fact that you have the one-on-one, intimate kind of conversation, then you have your show too. You just can't make this stuff up. It's just awesome how it fits in. And Tristan's the other Gemini that I really know. And he's the other one who does these amazing interviews too. And can always relate to people, can always join people where they are to relate with them as a Gemini, with that strong Gemini energy.
And that curiosity is genuine. I'm really how did you do that? Why do people do what they do? It's not, some might think it's a little nosy, but it's a genuine curiosity. I'm really want to know. And, you can ask my husband. He'll tell you all about that. Dawn, it's okay. Let's just take a minute. You can ask your questions later.
I think that another part of your chart that plays into that is all of your Pisces energy. Pisces carries a lot of the energy of your whole chart. Actually, you have a Pisces signature, which means that you have 3 or more planets. You have a stellium in Pisces, and that energy is just really strong in your chart. So you, just have that strong Pisces signature, and empathy is a huge Pisces theme. Being able to feel what other people feel, and that's another way of joining people on that level. Being able to empathize with people's feelings and their experience probably helps you ask better questions, and remain inquisitive when you're constantly putting yourself in other people's shoes in a way that can also be, like you're saying, kind of an overwhelming feeling sometimes too, in big crowds or in big groups of people. Pisces people can tend to get overwhelmed because they're so empathetic that they just take stuff on from other people, not meaning to at all. The baby cries across the room and you're just a little piece of your heart breaks, and an old guy coughs and you're oh, another little piece of my heart just broke, and just all these little things, Pisces people will give little pieces of their heart away to everything because they just can't help it.
You're absolutely right. There was, yes. You hear, especially if I hear a baby crying. It's like, somebody hold that baby. Like, what's going on? Bring it here. I'll take care of it. Yes. And even with guests and talking with people, like what that must have felt like when you went through that. Yeah. Just really doing that deep dive into when you say walking in someone else's shoes is maybe an understatement, quite honestly. Yeah.
Yeah, where it's like you literally can't help it, and really empathic people do have to be really careful and do cleanses and make sure that their space where they feel safe and at home is truly safe, and somewhere where they can feel at home, where they can sort of unload and, do those cleanses with, like, smudge yourself or take your, like, salt baths, or just like watch a ton of Netflix so it just washes over you. Oh, that's another theme here in your chart is water. You have a lot of water energy. And so the Pisces stuff is all water. And then you do have your midheaven and your north node in Cancer, another water sign, which are two strong points. And then Scorpio actually houses your Neptune, which is strong watery energy. Neptune is the ruler of the sign of Pisces. Neptune is spirituality. And Pisces are also very spiritual people. And so you've got Scorpio housing this Neptune and keeping that spirituality strong, as Scorpio is another, like, it's that deep dive. It's that you can almost see it as like a shaman energy, or like a druid energy, that connection there on a deep, deep level with spirituality. And then the North Node is, of course, the things that we want to bring into our life and things that are wanting to come into our life and the direction that we are heading in life. The South Node are things that we're trying to leave behind and moving away from, but you're always constantly moving towards this Cancer energy, which Cancer is all about the safety and security of a mother energy. This is the Cancer energy represents the womb and the security that we feel on that level. This is I think interesting as it ties into, I think of Cancer energy as tying into the home, and it's a fourth house energy also, which is all tied into the home and the family. And don't you spend a lot of time bringing in spaces for people to drop their home, become their home, and
Yes.
drop their family in, and a safe, secure space. So you're actually designed here. Your birth chart is designed to bring this type of energy in, and offering it up to other people.
It's pretty fascinating. I mean, just what you're saying is just there's so much that just falls into place. And it's like, wow.
And I bet with like helping people find their houses and stuff, you have to also ask a lot of questions. You have to just be so understanding of where these people are in their life. It doesn't work to sell people houses that they just don't fit in. They'll just, like, people know it's not right. And so you would have to spend a lot of time, again, in somebody else's shoes, kind of like seeing through somebody else's eyes, which would just take so much of those empathetic.
Oh, absolutely. It's how do you want to live in that
sensitivities.
space? How do you want to live here? How do you want your energy? How do you, growing through life, the holidays, so whatever. I mean, there's just so much more to it than just this structure. It's, lots of energy, lots of questions. Lots of I want to get a feel for what you're looking for so I can help you.
You really enjoy what you do, right?
I do.
Yeah. And you can tell because it works for you, right?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to force anything. It's just like it comes through really strong. And so water energy is also highly spiritual and highly intuitive, Water energy is a feminine element in astrology. So this is like receptive energy. This is more of the empathy that a mother, feels, or the understanding, that a mother would bring in. That's just the feminine energy that water signs bring. And so you hold a lot of that beautiful, sensitive, empathic energy. You can ask important questions. You just bring in so much security and safety for people in your life, being a safe and secure person for your friends and family, I'm sure, and just a really easy person to come to one-on-one and discuss things that may be really easy and superficial, or even the deeper things, which, you're not afraid to dive into more spiritual matters. And so I really, really enjoyed looking at your birth chart. And it's always interesting for me as somebody that already knew you, kind of looking at it. It's totally different doing a reading for somebody you don't really know their personality, so I can kind of make a couple connections, but there's just so much there. And now you can listen to the Cosmic Community in the future and any astrology report. And when you hear of certain points, where the new moons or the full moons are, that you're going to be working with some of these energies if they're surrounding any of these areas, that are kind of hot points for you.
No, it's amazing.
Enjoy that amazing solar eclipse this weekend, and I will be chatting with you next week. Peace. Thank you for listening to the Cosmic Community Podcast. More can be found at kpov.org/thecosmiccommunity.